All right, so Sean, at the spring meeting in Phoenix, the NFL owners are going to sit down and they are going to vote on 15 proposed rule changes for next
Yeah,
year's season. So I want to go over some of these proposed rule changes. We're not going to go over all 15 of them, just the ones that kind of
hey,
like stood out to us, you know?
yeah,
All right. So one of them is next year they want to change the fact that players can no longer jump over the line when kicking field goals or extra points to block it.
yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, Josh, actually, that rule, I'm okay with it.
Really?
This is why. Let me explain. I have my reasons. It kind of does suck because, like, it was awesome because it was like a game changer, right? Where they jump over and they block it, and it's like, oh my god, whatever. But this is the issue, and I've saw it in multiple games, is that when sometimes they jump off a jump, they touch a player, and then there's a controversy, and then what if they're offsides? And there's so many different variables they want to play in that I added some controversy in some of those games, and so I think it's just eliminating that controversy, keeping it simple, and honestly, they've already made the field goals a little bit tougher, regarding like the extra points and all this other stuff. So just, I don't know, like, just take away that controversy because it pissed me off. There's a couple games that it fucked up my pick'em and all my fantasy shit because of it. So just take away that controversy.
Well, I see. They changed it last year, moving it from a chip shot, right, to like moving it back to the 33-yard line, right? That's where they moved it back to.
No, it's a 33-yard field goal. So
it's a 33-yard field goal, right?
Yeah.
So they did that because they wanted to make things a little bit more interesting, right?
Yeah,
and to me, like, that was like blocking field goals was pretty much like the only thing that was interesting about kicking field goals or extra points, because it's pretty automatic once it's like when you're kicking a 33-yard field goal or an extra point. You're looking for that, you're not looking for that little excitement because otherwise I'm going to the bathroom. When when a team scores a touchdown, they're hitting that extra point, I'm going to go get me another beer, I'm going to go get some snacks, I'm going to go to the restroom. I don't really give a shit. And now I really don't care. And that's okay. That's fine. It's not a big deal. So now when the extra point comes, just go to the bathroom, take a piss break, whatever. The Seattle Seahawks, they're probably going to be the most affected by this because they blocked quite a bit of field goals over the last few years.
Cam Chancellor, man.
Yes, exactly.
This is the Cam Chancellor rule, pretty much.
So, so that's what I think about that. Another rule proposal is the automatic ejections of two unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. Or if a player has a dangerous hit, like a helmet to helmet or a blindside hit, just just a real fucked up play, that they could be automatically ejected from the game.
Yeah.
So boom, right there and then they're gone. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's going to be a good idea, or does that affect
Yeah.
Is that too big of a game changer right there? Because you have a big time defensive player, make a hit and maybe he's not even. Because a lot of these hits that are controversial, whatever, sometimes they're not, done on purpose. They're not done intentionally. Yeah. It just happens. Some players out there do it intentionally.
Oh man,
but
there's a few.
So you're running at full speed and you hit somebody and it looks really fucked up. And now a referee can say you're gone. You're out of the game. Yeah. And if it's a big time player, that can change everything.
Yeah, I think I understand the reasoning behind it. On both sides, right? Like, first, the refs, they don't want to change the outcome. They don't want to be a reason for a win or a loss in a game, right? That's not the point of a referee. They're just there to make sure it's played the right way. And also go into that, I understand this because obviously, the NFL's already gotten a lot of shit for player safety, right? Huge. They have lawsuits pretty much every year.
This is what this is for.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they get lawsuits all the time for this shit. So them putting this in place, I understand it. And plus, I like it too because you don't want these offensive players, if you play fantasy, that get hit helmet to helmet and they get a concussion. Concussion's like the worst thing right now.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen, which sucks. And it's not good for the players. There's so many players coming out with issues later on down the road. So I think this is big. And, yeah, you're right. When you're on full speed, sometimes shit happens. That's why I think, maybe not with those kind of plays, if it's kind of like in question, it's kind of like NBA. When there's a flagrant foul, what do? They go to the replay.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, it's just an automatic ejection. They're not going to go look at it like the NBA does?
It should be reviewed.
It should do that, right?
If you're going to say, like, you're out, you're done, you're out of the game, then it should be reviewed. Because I don't like the idea of saying...
Yeah, because the game's too fast and there's too much heat in the moment sometimes.
A bang play, sometimes it sounds worse than it really is.
Yeah, exactly.
You watch the replay, you're like, oh, well, shit, his helmet never hit his helmet. Never mind. Like, sometimes it was just one of those hits where you can't really help it, So I say it has to be a review, just like the NBA does. The NBA has a right,
Right. At the very least, they should be able to do that because I'll tell you one thing: a lot of the old school players, guys who just retired, and I bet a lot of NFL current players, they hate this. This is very stupid because like I said, most players who have that give these ugly hits are not doing it on purpose. Yeah. And when a referee sees something and like in the heat of the moment and and because of how fast the game is, it just like you just said, it looks worse than it is. So at the very least, I think you have to go review it. So the NFL says that this probably won't happen very much, if at all, and I think that's bullshit. I think it's going to happen quite a bit, and I think people are going to get pissed off about it. Yeah. So another proposed rule change is there are going to be changes to the NFL replays. So whereas before, as all when there's a replay challenge or whatever, the referee goes under the hood and gets into contact with officials in New York, and they get their input, but the referee had final say. Now there is no more hood. That's not going to happen anymore. They're going to get like a little tablet, and they're going to get on the phone with New York, and an NFL official will now have the final say, whereas the referee now will just have some input in that. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it.
I think so too. I think that works.
The refs on the field, that people don't understand this, but the refs that are at the game, they're always working together. They're a crew. So like sometimes you'll see where they mix up the crews, especially in the playoffs, and that's why sometimes it gets a little slowed down because their refs are always talking. But these guys during the regular season, they're part of the same crew and they're always working together, so they know each other. When you put it in someone else's hands, it's not biased as much, They're going to look at the replay and say, okay, this happened or this didn't happen, So it's a little bit less like, oh, what do you think? Are you sure? Oh, okay.
And sometimes NFL referees, they have a little ego there too. Sometimes, I think absolutely,
you don't want to be wrong.
There are definitely times where NFL referees go, man, I fucked that up, but I can't look like an idiot and go back on what I called. And now that completely eliminates it. It's completely unbiased. It's an official thing. So now there's going to be less blame on the refs, and the blame goes to one guy in New York, an NFL official. And that just makes obvious sense to me.
It's simpler. It cuts out that middleman and all that. So I like it.
So now another one is this is going to be really interesting, and I don't think this is going to pass at all. But coaches want to be able to challenge all penalties across the board.
Oh man,
there's no way that's gonna happen. Because if you're Roger Goodell and you're trying to keep the game from slowing down, and you want to speed up the game and having less replays and all that shit, this is not gonna fly in that era of coming up with the NFL. Because every time there's a pass interference or whatever that a coach sees, he's going to throw that flag.
So I want to throw this out there because I just started thinking about this because I remember we're about to talk about this and it started going through my mind. So right now, currently, you really can't challenge a penalty. The only time you can challenge a penalty is like 12 men on the field. Right. That's pretty much it. You can't challenge anything else. And like tip balls and stuff like that, but for passing calls, but that's it. But I'm thinking back on it, right now you get 2 challenges a game, right? Mm-hmm. 2. At that point, if you get both of them right, you get another one. But that's pretty much the max of 3, and that's only if you get 2 challenges right in that game. Now, thinking about this, how many penalties do you see that are very controversial that were wrong? Like, we see at least a handful of penalties a game that are wrong for both sides of the team, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if they even consider this, which I don't think it'll be passed at all.
No.
Because like you said, it's going to slow down the game. And that's not what fans want. The fans are getting tired of that bullshit. That's why ratings have dropped. But they would have to give them more challenges, right? But what's the limit? So I think I don't like that idea. We have to understand there's going to be human error because there are humans refereeing this game, coaching this game, playing this game. Humans created this game. So there's going to be flaws. There's going to be mistakes. Let's suck it up and deal with it. Mm-hmm. I don't like the whole challenging and penalties. That's just too much.
If this were to go through, who do you think would be the most penalized player in the NFL? To me, I think it would be Richard Sherman would be the most penalized guy.
Oh, God, dude. He's constantly holding.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my goodness, bro. He's constantly holding and, contact 10 yards, 15 yards down the field. Oh, God. I swear he pays the refs every game. I swear.
Oh, shit. All right, so another one is, and I don't like this one. I don't.
Which one? What is it?
So there's a proposed rule change to overtime. They want to reduce it from 15 minutes, a full quarter, to 10 minutes, which equals more ties. That's going to equal more ties in the NFL.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this, last season, and I hate ties in the NFL. It just should never, ever happen. And with this, reducing it to 10 minutes, we're going to see more ties. And I think that's just bullshit. But, of course, they're doing it for safety concerns. Less time being played, less, concerns are of players being injured.
Yeah, that's very true. And I understand what they're trying to do. Now, I can see this making sense in this aspect because the NBA does shorter overtimes, right? It's not a full quarter. So I understand that. But if that's the case, then make it where it's not just sudden death or the first person that scores a touchdown. Just play it out.
If you reduce it to 10 minutes, you got to go to college rules, right? For overtime?
College rules, there's no time. There's no time on the clock, though.
But, okay, so would that be better than reducing it to just 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Because
Because
NFL overtime is bullshit.
Yeah. College, it's simpler, right? You start at the, 20, 25-yard line, and you pretty much try to score. And then if you score, the next team gets a turn. If you score a touchdown, the next team has to score a touchdown. Or if you kick a field goal, the other team's going to score a touchdown and win the game. Or if they can kick a field goal and it goes to more overtimes. Mm-hmm. But it's shorter field, condensed. You're not driving the whole field, wearing teams out. So it's literally just going head to head for the red zone pretty much. So I think that would be smarter. I don't know. I think they need to revamp their whole overtime. We did a video on this for the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl's whole fiasco, how the Falcons didn't even touch the fucking ball. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna get passed. No, I don't know.
It might, but it's stupid. This shouldn't even be something that they're considering for overtime. This is completely real overtime. Yeah. But hopefully that eventually
take a lesson from college, please, for once.
It doesn't have to be at the 25-yard line. Because you're in the NFL, you can move it to the 30 or the 40. I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, another rule proposal is Roger Goodell came out and said on Thursday Night Football games that there are to be less commercials. He was very surprised to see how many commercials there were during Thursday Night Football, and of course he hears it all the time. Thursday Night Football sucks. It drags on fucking forever. So he wants to make the game shorter, and he wants to eliminate commercials where, a team scores a touchdown, they hit the extra point, and there's a commercial, and then they do a kickoff, and then they do another commercial, which I can't stand it. I can't stand that on any game.
So stupid.
So he wants to eliminate that for at least Thursday night games.
Yeah, and I that makes sense because when you're watching it during Sunday, you have 10 games on, right? Or maybe a little less, depending on the time. So you could be All right, that one's on commercial. Let me go to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go to this one. All right, let me turn all the way around and go. But on Thursday, you only have one game. Like, why are you flooding us with fucking commercials? Like, it's just stupid.
You can be like the NBA or MLB, where your commercials are right there on at the court or on the field. They're in billboards right behind home plate, and or on the scores box, on the scores table in NBA games. Like, figure a way to put your advertisements out there without having to cut to commercials all the time. And but honestly, here's another thing that they got wrong. Just like the overtime, completely rehaul it. Like, no, in fact, eliminate Thursday night games altogether. I want to see Thursday night games gone. Now, remember when they first proposed this, we kind of were like, hyped about that. Like, oh, another day of football? Awesome. But it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It's terrible for everybody. They should just completely do away with Thursday night games. But that won't happen because that's a lot of money out of everybody's pockets. So
more revenue.
That just means shittier, gameplay for us, and especially fantasy players. So speaking of Thursday night games, you know how on Thursdays they play with the color rush uniforms. Well, another rule proposal is teams want to be able to have the option to opt out of their color rush uniforms, and this one's being heavily pushed by and proposed by the Washington Redskins, who have probably the ugliest color rush uniforms, tied with the Miami Dolphins, who have that ungodly orange fucking shit that they got going on. But so do you think that's cool or not? That teams should be able to opt out of the color rush uniforms.
See, I like most of the color rush uniforms. I think it's a good change of pace.
Steelers have a nice fucking. They probably have the best
Steelers,
ones.
the Cowboys have pretty
Cowboys have some nice ones.
The Titans, remember we saw that one. We were at that game.
Packers have some terrible ones.
Packers, they look the same.
They're just all white.
It just looks like a typical. Besides, like a little, it's all white, but it's pretty much. It was stupid. But yeah, I understand what they're saying because Redskins are like, oh well, we got made fun of. Well, bitch, create new ones, create better ones. Like, it's not like I don't know. Well, I don't know how they created them or did all that, but I like them. I even when they're ugly, it gives you something to talk about. It gives us something to debate about. Like when we did our videos over Thursday Night Football, did you see those? Like we talked about it.
Yeah.
So I like it.
So I like this option because there are some teams out there that are just hideous and shouldn't do it. They just shouldn't do it, like the Dolphins, like the Redskins.
But if a team opts out, then it's just gonna look weird when the other team has these like fucking shiny, glossy looking uniforms. And then you just have your regular uniform, so it's gonna look.
They'll
look
all boring compared to the other team. But
I don't think they should.
But this won't happen though, because you know what? This also means less money. There's a reason why they have throwback nights and they have color rush uniforms. It means more jerseys for the NFL to sell.
Oh yeah.
So it's not gonna happen.
I'm gonna buy a color rush jersey. That's what I want to do. I'm gonna buy me a Ezekiel Elliott one.
So what do you guys think about the color rush uniforms? Which ones do you guys love? Which one do you guys hate? And let us know what you guys think about some of these proposed rule changes. We only went over about 8 of them. There's actually 15 of them out there, but those are the ones that really kind of jumped out to us. Let us know what you guys think. Are there any other rule changes that you guys think are probably mean more, or maybe there's some changes that you would like to see in the NFL that are not among these 15 proposals? What would you like to see changed in the NFL? Hey, if you enjoy these videos, then click these links down here below for some of our other videos.
And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and click that subscribe button to catch our future videos.
Yes, do that. Do it now.
What he said.